Hello. Welcome into my workshop and welcome to the show Creations of Clay. My name is Louis Palladini, and tonight I'd like to do an animal that everyone is familiar with, which is a fish. I want to show you how to do that from start to finish, and I think it'd be a really cool little project to do tonight. And I'll show you how to do the water that goes underneath the fish. I'll do a little different in a different manner tonight, just to show you another technique that you can use other than using the aluminum foil. The types of clay that you can use are this oil-based clay, which never hardens, and you can use it again and again. And as I mentioned in the past, I used to use this all the time when I was a kid. I loved the clay. Then when I got tired of what I made, I would just make something else and make it brand new. And you know, sometimes I do whales, sometimes I do lions, tigers, elephants, depending on what I was in the mood for. Another type of clay that you can use is an air hardening clay such as this, which hardens in a couple of hours or overnight. And you know, it's a very good clay to use. You can paint it, but the bad thing about this is once you paint it and it hardens, you can't reuse it again. My preference for the clay is a clay called Super Sculpey, which can be fired in the oven at 275 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes. You can drill it, sand it. You can make a tremendous amount of detail with this clay, and that's what I love about it. It never hardens until you fire it in the oven. The size balls of clay that we'll be using tonight are this one right here. We'll be using this for the base, for the water. And then for the fish's body, we'll be using this size ball of clay. For the tail, we have these two smaller balls of clay that we're using for the tail. Then we'll proceed to take these two balls of clay and we'll make the fins on the side. And then there's a couple of smaller balls of clay here that we're going to use for the fins on top of the fish and on the bottom. And I'll show you how to do that. The first step in the process that we want to do is, I just want to kind of move these aside. That way they're not in the way. So we're going to take this ball of clay here, and we're just going to kind of make it almost into like a potato shape. Just like that. Just work it with your hands like this. And just work it like that. And then what we're going to proceed to do is we're going to tamp it down on the table. So I'm going to take this now and just kind of tap it on the table a couple of times. And you can just kind of work it in like that. Just tap it nicely. And that's the shape that you want. See how I flatten that out nicely? Just by tapping it on the table. The next step in the process, we want to make the water. And I'll show you what we're going to proceed to do. This is the base right here for the water. And I'll show you how to make this texture for the water. We're going to proceed to use something that everybody's very familiar with. It's a popsicle stick. You know, you can buy these in an art store, or you know, if you have a popsicle and you want to say the popsicle sticks that way, that's another way of doing it. But what we're going to proceed to do is we're going to take this popsicle stick and we're just going to kind of work it along the clay like this and kind of like make little swirly marks and things like that. See how we're just kind of doing that, and just kind of do that, go up and down. You can just go back and forth. Just kind of just work it like that. It gives you a really cool effect when you just kind of go up and down, and we're going to cross it a little bit here. See how that looks? We're going to do the same for the other side. We're going to just kind of make little swirly marks like that. Just kind of go back and forth like that. We're going to go like that. And then we're going to do that. We're going to make little swirly marks in the front. And we're going to proceed to make these in the back too. Just kind of like do that right there. So you can kind of see that has a nice cool effect for the water. It's a different way of making the texture. And we'll proceed to put this down. What I want to do now is I want to make the body of the fish. So that with the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the body right here. So we're going to make this area right here. Right up to the tail here, but we'll add the tail in a minute. I'll show you how to proceed to make that particular shape. We're going to take this ball of clay here, and one of the things we can do to, you can take and squeeze it, but we're going to roll it in the table. So I'm going to take and put this down on the table, and now we're going to roll it like this. This will help us to make the body of the fish. See that? See how it's getting nice and long? Just go back and forth, just like that. You use your table. And then we'll do a little bit more. You can even use both your hands. What I like to do now is I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to take and try to thin this out a little bit to look more like the shape of the fish. And I'll show you what we're trying to do. I'm going to put this down, and I'll show you. See the shape of the fish here? How it goes up and down like that? Then it kind of thins out. The body thins out here. So what we're going to do is take our fingers and kind of compress this to thin that out. And I'll show you how to do that. We're going to take this. And now see, I'm kind of pressing with my fingers. We're making the shape of the body. Just like that. And when we kind of have the shape that we want, what I'm going to do is we're going to take our fingers and kind of smooth it out a little bit. See how I'm just taking and smoothing it with my fingers? That way it's somewhat smooth. And see how and then we're going to look at the other side. See how that's kind of thinned out now? And that's the shape that we want. So just, you're going to see how I'm taking my fingers and just running it along the clay like that. That way you can kind of get rid of some of the fingerprints that you've made on the body. And we'll just keep working it like that. And so, see this shape here? You want to make that shape. And then you kind of want to have a little curve in the body. Because most fish, when they swim, you know, they're going back and forth like that. So we want to put a nice little curve in it. What we're going to proceed to do is I want to take and I want to attach this to the base now. So we're going to take these two pieces of clay, and we're going to put the fish on top like this. Kind of place them on top like that. And I'm going to put them down on the table, and I'm just going to kind of work them in a little bit, just like that. And then we can take the popsicle stick, and we can kind of work that. See how I'm kind of taking that? Take this, the popsicle stick, and just kind of work these two together. Make sure that the body is attached. Kind of press that in like that. See how I'm doing that? And I'll show you. You do it on the other side also. See, just kind of take some of that clay that's part of the water and just press it up against the fish. So it, just like that. The next thing that we want to do is we want to make the tail. And I'll show you what that will look like. These are the tail fins. We're going to proceed to make that. So we're going to make one. We're going to make it in two parts. One ball will make this fin, and then the other ball will make that fin. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to take these two balls of clay here, and you're going to take and compress it with your fingers. Just press it. And we're going to make a triangular shape. See, I'm kind of flattening that out, just like that. Just flatten it out nicely. And I'll show you, see how it's starting to look like a fin? And you want to create that triangular shape. Just kind of pinch it between your fingers. So you're working it this way, but then you're also kind of working it this way too with your fingers. So you just proceed to do that. And I'm going to measure up against the other fish to see if it's roughly the same size. And it is. So we're in pretty good shape. I want to proceed to make the other part of the tail. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Take the ball of clay here, and you squeeze it, flatten it out, and just kind of squeeze it like that. And we're going to make that triangular shape again. And this is going to be the bottom part of the tail. Just going to squeeze that, just like that. And so see that shape that we just made? And that's the shape that you want. So now we're going to proceed to put this on the fish. So I'm going to take and pick up the body of the fish, and we're going to take the first part of the tail and just kind of attach it. See, I'm kind of squeezing that in like that. Just kind of squeeze that together, work the clay in, and just kind of work that in like that. And then from the other side, you see what I'm doing? I'm taking it and I'm connecting it from the other side. I'm pulling that clay over. See that? How I kind of pull it over? And that will attach it. So just kind of work that like that. Just like that. And we're going to proceed to make the other part of the tail. So I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to put that in the bottom here. And we're going to see I'm working that in. And then we go from the other side, and we kind of pull on the other side here. We make sure we attach it that way. Don't worry too much about the proportions. If they're a little off, that's fine. It's just getting the general idea so you can make the fish. And I'm just going to kind of, and I'll show you what it will look like. See how we attach that? And we can smooth that out a little more if we want with our fingers. And the next step in the process will be, we want to make, I think we'll do the mouth. So what we can do is take our popsicle stick here, take it and press it into the fish's mouth like that. Just like that. See how I'm doing that? And you created the mouth. Isn't that cool? And then the next step in the process that we want to do is we want to make the eyes. So we're going to get a toothpick, which can be bought, in a supermarket. I like the one with the double, the points are on both ends. So we're going to take this, and you're going to take this and put this in right about here, see? And just take and kind of rotate that around a little bit, just like that. See that? And so now what I like to do is you try to line it up. Look at the fish. When you want to put it in the other side, kind of follow it over this way, and I'm going to put the other eye approximately here. And then you put that in, and see how we just kind of rotate that? I'm going to show you the angle. See how I just kind of rotate that a little bit? You can see the eye. And now we also want to make some gills. So what we're going to proceed to do is make some gills. So we're going to take this and make a line just like this with a toothpick. See how I'm doing that? And then we're going to make a second one right here to make the other gill, just like that. And we're going to proceed to make that on the other side. And I'll try to make it in approximately the same location. So you take this, and you kind of go like this, and you curve it a little bit. And then we're going to proceed to do it up here, just like that. I'll try to get that angle so you can see it. Just kind of work it just like that. So now you have the gills. The next step in the process that we want to do is we want to make this little like fins on the side of the fish's body like this. And we're going to make both of those. So I'll show you the shape. We want to make this, it almost looks like a paddle shape. Think of a U. See how that? If I flipped it up there, just think of a U, and that's the shape that we're going to create. I'll take these two balls of clay now, and we're just going to you take the clay and kind of press on it like this. See how I kind of flatten it out? But in the meantime, you want to make that U shape. So you're taking your fingers and you're kind of going like that, so you're making that U shape. Just like that. See how I'm making that nice U shape? We're going to make 2 fins, so I'll proceed to make the other one. So we take this, squeeze it between our fingers, just like that. And then you see how we'll make that nice U shape? And I want to make sure they're approximately the same size, which they are. If the proportions are a little off, don't worry. It's just learning the techniques to make the different shapes for the fish. Practice makes perfect, so the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. We'll take this fin now, and we're going to put this on the body right here. See how I'm taking that? You kind of press that into the body of the fish like that. Right there. See that? Just kind of work it in. And we're going to proceed to do the same thing on the other side. So I'll look, it's going to go approximately here. Just take and work that in like that. Just like that. See, I'm kind of pressing that into the body. So now you got those 2 fins. We got a couple more that we need to do, and I'll show you how to make those. The first one that we're going to make is the one that's on top of the fish, this one here. It's almost like a dorsal fin. We'll make that shape next. So I'm going to take this, you want to flatten it out with your fingers like that. But then you want to, and I'll show you the shape that we're going to make. We're going to make that dorsal-like fin. So I'll see I'm starting to take shape. So just kind of keep working your fingers like this and then flattening it out. Just like that. You do that. That's the shape that you want. And now we're going to proceed to put that on top of the fish. And I'm going to take and put that right about here. See that right? We're going to put that right around there. And just kind of take and work it in. So take your fingers and kind of press that in like that. And you're going to do that the same on the other side. Just take and press that into the fish just like that. You can even take your little popsicle stick if you want, and you can maybe use that. That might help to kind of work it in also. So we've got that part done. The next piece that we want to do is we want to make one more fin, and that's going to be this fin right here. See that one? Well, I'm going to show you how to place that in the bottom of the fish and make the shape. So we take this ball of clay here, and we squeeze it, and we're going to make the shape of the fin. So you're flattening it out like that, but then you're also taking your fingers. See, I'm kind of going around it like this to create the shape. So you're doing both at the same time, and you look, and it looks like it's almost the shape that we want. And I'll show you. See that? That's the shape you want. And I'm going to proceed to pick up the fish now. We can flip them over right there. And see how we're going to work the fin in right down the bottom here. And you can just kind of take your fingers and press that in like that. Just work it in. So there is your fish. And that's what it will look like from that side. The next thing that we want to do, though, is we want to add a few more finishing touches before we finish with the actual sculpture. We're going to make lines for the fins right in here. You can see this, some little lines that I made. And then we're going to do the same thing for the top fin here. And we're going to do the same for the tail here. You can see the lines that I made there last night for this model. And we're going to proceed to do that. So take your toothpick, and we're going to take that now and just take the tail, see this here? And just kind of take and pull it along like this. And just pull along like that. And you're going to do that all the way up the tail. Just kind of make little lines. You want to create those fins. And you're going to do that to both sides. I'll just show you a few strokes in this one. It's a little harder to do it from this angle, but just kind of pull it along like that. And you're going to do that for the entire tail in that manner. You're also going to proceed to do the fins here on the side. See how I kind of just drag that along like that. And then we'll proceed to make it up here, just like that. You just take your toothpick and you drag it along. And you're going to do that for both sides. I'll show you what it should look like. When you finish making those lines, you should see how I made the lines up here for the dorsal fin? See how I made those nice lines in the tail here and underneath here and in this fin here. And that's what you want to proceed to do. That's what it will look like when it's finished. I will now proceed to show you how to paint. We're going to use acrylic paints, which can be bought in any art store. And these are great because they're non-toxic, they're easy to clean up. You know, just take soap and water and they clean up very easily. We're going to just be using a few different colors tonight. And I'll show you the colors that we want. We want this, it's almost like a bluish green. I like this color. This, we want to use black for the eyes. And we want to use blue for the water. And we'll proceed to use those 3 different colors. And I'll put this aside so it won't be in the way. Now, we're going to use some brushes. What I like to do for the body of the fish, I like to use this brush here. It's wide, and it will give us the greatest coverage for that. Then for the actual water on the bottom of the fish, the base, I'll like to use this brush here. We'll use that size. And then for the eye, we're going to use, I'm going to see if I can get a smaller brush here. I want to use a brush like this for the eye because it's small, it's got the small tip. It'll be easy to do this. The first thing that we want to do is I'll show you how to paint the blue water. We're going to proceed to paint that. Take that and we're going to take this, dip the brush in, and now what you want to do is just do a back and forth motion like this and kind of dab it in because there's a lot of little crevices here because of the way we sculpted it, and just kind of dab that in just like that. Just kind of go all the way around, just dabbing it in, back and forth, back and forth. You want to go all the way around to make the blue base like that for the water. Just back and forth, back and forth. And I'll just show you a little bit more. You do the front. See how we're just painting that? Do that back and forth. And then we'll do that here too. Back and forth, back and forth. Back and forth, just like that. It gives it a really, really nice effect. See how that's looking? So you want to do that back and forth motion. And to just look to see that you didn't miss any areas. Because sometimes you need to dab some of the areas that you may have missed. Just dab. Just like that. It's a pretty cool effect. The next thing that we want to do is we want to paint, I think we'll do the eye, because that'll be easier to do. And we're going to take the black paint, take that, and we're going to take our small brush, dip it into the black paint. And what I like to do is just kind of poke it into the eye of the fish like this. See, I just kind of put it in. And then you want to do the same on the other side. Just kind of dip the brush, and then you're just kind of dip it into the eye, push it right into that little socket. You know, I smudged it a little bit this here, but what you can do is you can paint over some of that. What we can end up doing is I'll just get a paper towel here and maybe wipe a little bit of that away. And you can always paint over it also. So let's see, I'll just try to, I smudged it a little bit, but I'll show you, we'll paint around that and we'll get rid of that where we smudged. We're going to proceed to use the bluish green paint. I want to put these to the side. Try to make things a little neater. And then we'll proceed to do the body of the fish. And then I'll show you, dip the brush. And we'll start with the tail first. It's going to go back and forth, back and forth. And then you also want to look at the end of the fish's tail like this, make sure you dab that. But then go back and forth, just like this. And that'll look nice. And you want to proceed to do the other side. So see, we do the back and forth motion, just like that. You know, back and forth. Sometimes you might find that after you paint it once, you might want to paint it again because the colors, it just needs a second coat. You still can kind of see the pinkish color of the clay. So sometimes you want to give it 2 or 3 coats. It's up to you. And I'll show you, I'm going to paint this little fin now. See how they just kind of run that along? And now when we do around the eye, see how when I'm painting around the eye now, I'm just being very careful not to get it back into the, and we're painting right over that black that I kind of smudged. See, so it came out pretty nice. Going to dip the brush in there for the mouth. You want to do underneath. See that? Make sure you do underneath the underside of the fish also. And we'll just going to... So you're going to proceed to paint the entire fish in this manner. I'll show you how to do it. See this? Doing the body. Back and forth, back and forth. Just like that. And back and forth. And then I'll show you want to do the fin up here. And then you also want to kind of, see how I'm kind of doing the end? You want to make sure you get that. You'll proceed to paint the entire fish green in that manner, and I'll show you what the finished product will look like. We'll put this fish over here, and this is what the fish will look like when it's done. You can see right here we have the nice black eyes. You can see the gills here. See how you can see the lines that we made? Like in the fins here, up here, the lines right here, and then the blue water. And see how that nice texture that it has? That's a little different method that you can use to make water other than using the tin foil if you want. Use the popsicle stick, and it gives you a really nice effect. I do want to thank you for coming to Creations in Clay today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week, and goodbye for now. Thank you. Hi kids, how would you like to win some professional modeling clay like the one that I use in the show? Please send pictures of your creations in clay and we will enter them into a drawing. You can send by mail or email, and I can't wait to see what you've been up to.